What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolved video. So in today's video, we're going to be doing something very interesting. I am joined by one of my old teammates, Danny, who's played other card games. Danny, you there?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Glad to be on the channel.
Thank you for being here. So for today's video, we're going to be doing something very different and interesting, I'd like to say. So we're going to be doing if good cards and bad cards are in Shadowverse Evolved. So you're going to be debating between both of them from reading their abilities and whatnot. So you have a decent background of a card game. So let me get some insight on that. Give us some insight on that.
Yeah. So I started playing Magic the Gathering back in like '08. Uh, Played some Magic, played some Pokemon, played Dragon Ball, the old Panini game. Been playing Dragon Ball Super for a long time now. Grand Archive. Uh, I mean, I love trading card games. I've heard of Shadowverse, but I know nothing about it. So this is gonna be real fun, real interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. And if I haven't already said what this game is going to be, so we're going to be playing this little game called Staple or Stinker. So Danny is going to be guessing whether these cards are good or bad. Not necessarily to give some insight is that, you know, there are some cards that are going to be in here that are like pretty good for their respective decks, but are they really played in Shadowverse Evolved? Like you can build a deck and it'd be pretty decent, but you know, in more like set 7 things, these cards are not really doing as good as they should be. So Danny, you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so we're gonna get into our first card. So the first card we have is Bellringer Angels. She's a 1-cost 0/2. You can evolve her for 2, and she has Ward. So Ward basically means that you're able to put her in the engaged position, and before your opponent is able to attack you, they have to attack her first. And then when she dies, last words, you can draw a card.
Okay, so this is like a blocker that draws a card.
Yes.
Cool. Uh, for 1 cost. I mean, that seems pretty good to me. I'd call that a staple.
Okay, so your vote Staple?
I'm gonna vote staple.
Okay, and you are indeed correct. So you're already
Okay.
1 for 1 already. So Bellringer is definitely a staple card since set 1, I believe. I think this card's been around since set 1. You know, it's been a long time. But this card is just very good. Just to play a card and then draw a card is just too good in this game.
Yeah, seems good. Cantrips are always nice.
Alright, now getting on into the next one. So we have Sweet Tooth Sleuth. So he's a 3-cost 3/4, and when he's played, you select an opponent and they reveal their hand.
Ooh, okay, let's see. 3/4. That seems like a I don't know how big bodies are in this game. At 3/4 for 3 seems like a decent body. They reveal their hand. You're not making them discard, you're just getting to look at it. Oh man. Ooh, I'm gonna go staple again. This seems pretty strong. Can knowledge seems good.
Unfortunately, with those news, he is not very good. So one thing about playing a 3-cost body, so in Shadowverse Evolved, when we get to turns 3, we want to be really interactive. So looking at your opponent hand is nice, but there are cards that also do this and also get rid of said card. But you do have to discard, like, you do have to get rid of your health for one of the cards that I'm speaking about. But unfortunately, just looking at what your opponent has, and let's say you have like 3 play points, you used all your play points to just look at your opponent's hand, and they're probably going to maybe 4 play points, and they're probably going to use said card that you looked at to probably either kill you or, you know, swing at you with.
Fair enough. I guess this doesn't block or anything like that, so there's no defense. So it doesn't have the ward like Bellringer, right?
No,
okay.
no, you just play them and you look at their hand, and then they get all their cards back. So
I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna kill you.
exactly,
Cool.
right thought process. All right, so this was more of the warm-up round, so just to get you a good feel of things. All right, so now we're gonna get into more, I guess, archetypal cards and more, you know, class-based cards. So
Cool.
going into the next round, we have Mono Garnet Rebel. So this is one of the newer cards that came out. So she's a 2-cost 3/2, and you can evolve her for 1, but you can only evolve her if there are 5 Machina followers on the field. But she also has an activated ability to banish 2 Machina cards from her cemetery to summon an Assembly Droid, which is also a Machina card that you can play. You can only activate that once per turn. But when you do evolve her, she has Storm, and you can use her activate ability to banish banish a Alpha Drive from your cemetery, and you can give every Machina follower in your field +2/+2 and Rush.
Okay, so Storm, what is Storm?
So Storm is, as soon as she's played, she's able to swing.
Okay, so this is a 2-cost evolve for 1, so 3 total to evolve. You get 2 bodies, and one of them gets +2/+2. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, you need at least 5 cards on the field, 5 Machina cards to evolve her, but you can get a body on the field by banishing 2 cards from your cemetery, so your graveyard.
Okay. Let's see, that's a 5/4. I mean, I'm just looking at this as a 5/4 for 3 that makes 2 bodies. That seems... Man, I don't want to do it for a 3rd time in a row, but I'm going to go staple again. This seems so strong.
You are indeed correct. So, Machina is, Machina and Mono are just very good archetypes. They're the lead archetypes for this set upcoming, well, the current set that we're on. So basically, essentially, you can fill up your board pretty easily with assembly droids. I probably should have added the fact that assembly droids only cost 1. But
Okay.
when she summons the assembly droid, she summons them on the field already. So you already have 2 bodies. You just have to make sure you have those 3 other spaces filled. And then, just from the fact you're seeing Storm and as she's able to just swing as soon as she's played. But with this other activate ability on the evolve, you can buff up your entire board. So she actually turns into a 7/6 with Storm with her activate ability on her evolve side.
Oh, because it gives herself the +2. Man, yeah, okay.
Because she's also a Machina. Yes. Alright, so we have World Wielder Ginger. So she's a 7-cost 4/4, and you can evolve her for 2, but when she's played, you may summon a follower from your hand. Its fanfare ability can't be performed, and it can't attack enemies this turn. So essentially, it can't, do its on-play abilities and whatnot. And then when you evolve her for 2, you may summon any number of followers from your hand, and their fanfare abilities can't be performed, and they can't attack enemies this turn.
Okay, so we're looking at a 7-cost 4/4, which already seems pretty low on value compared to the mono that we just saw. And then you play a body that basically has no skills for a turn. And if you do evolve, so you're spending 9 total energy, you can get a bunch of followers. I don't know how prevalent board wipes are in this game, but I'm thinking, it sounds cool to flood the board, but if they just board wipe you, that was all for nothing, right?
Yeah.
7 for a 4/4 just seems low on value to me. I'm gonna go stinker on this one.
And you are indeed correct. So World Wielder Ginger, unfortunately, the cards that you want to have in your hand, you really want their fanfare abilities to proc. Because sometimes, it'll say, hey, draw a card, or, search for a card for your deck, and then, put it into play sometimes. And then you're really thinking hard with the 7-cost 4/4, because, with stats in this game, it really does matter, because there are cards that really deal 5 damage, and imagine spending 7, and then, they just played a 3-cost card that just wipes this off the face of the earth. So, good job. Okay, getting on into the next one. So we have Deepwood Anomaly. So he's a 7-cost 8/8, and you can evolve him for 1. And when this follower deals attack damage to an enemy leader, you win the game. And then when you evolve him, you can select an enemy follower in the field and put it on the bottom of its owner's deck. And when this follower deals attack damage to an enemy leader, you win the game.
Okay, this is tough. Just 8/8 for 7 seems pretty good. Obviously better than the last one we just looked at. Winning the game unconditionally in any card game I've ever played is a strong ability. And then on evolve, you select an enemy follower, so you could put a Bellringer Angel on the bottom of the deck, and they don't have that ward to defend against it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy doesn't have Storm, so he can't attack the turn he comes into play. Oh man, I'm so torn because win the game is such a cool,
the victory
cool
strike,
mechanic.
right?
Yeah, exactly. But paying again, you're saying you're paying 7. This guy can't attack the turn he comes into play. There's got to be a card that's just like, all right, I paid 3 and kill this thing. Um, I'm gonna go Stinker.
And you are correct. So Deepwood Anomaly does have a really good ability to win the game, but you do have to remember he has to be stale. He has to be stale and able to swing. So that gives somebody a turn to really figure out how to deal with it. And with like hard removal getting into 7 play points, if you don't have the hard removal, then I guess at that point you really do deserve to lose. But there are
Right.
situations where you are, feeding off of the like top end of your deck, and sometimes they just drop this. But this is definitely not a very good card. But
I
the
could
win the
see it
game
like
thing does seem
one
enticing.
of. Yeah, I would run it as a cheeky one of if I was playing this green leafy deck. Yeah.
All right, getting into the next one. So we have Dark Dragoon Forte. So she's a 4-cost 5/1 with Storm, and you can evolve her for 2. And then she turns into a 7/3, and then she has Storm and Aura. So Storm is when she swings the same turn as we've already seen from the earlier cards, but Aura means she can't be targeted by abilities.
Okay. Now, I will say this. I don't know much about Shadowverse, but I have seen Dark Dragoon Forte on the artwork for promotional stuff for the game. So I'm assuming that's a pretty popular card, if nothing else. Uh, so going back to that stat line, it's a 4-cost 5/1, so you're getting more damage than you're paying. The 1 on the unevolved is a little scary, I guess. Can I ask, is there a way for your opponent to interact with you evolving? Can they like ping this for 1 before you can evolve it?
No, they cannot.
Okay. In that case, we're looking at a 6-cost 7/3 swing for 7. Yeah, I mean, I could just imagine you have 6 and you just, I mean, swing 7 seems real cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go staple.
And you are indeed correct. So as Dark Dragoon Forte is a popular card, her ability is very good in this game. So being able to just swing for paying 4 is just nice too. But when you evolve her and then swinging for 7 and you can't really interact with her swing is very, very good.
Yeah. It's a good looking card too.
Oh yeah, that's definitely Bay. All right, so getting into this next round, so this one might be a little bit of a tricky one for you because the Idolmaster set is more of a collab set. So I do want to give some good insight on this. So when it says lesson 1, that means there are magical items in your EX area that let you get rid of said things so you can do certain abilities. Like, I can get rid of 1 magical item to heal 1 for Uzuki Shimura's ability. When talking about Uzuki Shimura, so she's a 3-cost 3/3. You can evolve for 1, and you can use that fanfare ability when she's played to give your leader +1 defense, so it heals you 1. And then when you evolve her, you can search your deck for a follower with Ren Shabuya or Mia Honda in its name and put it into your EX area, then shuffle your deck, and it costs you less to play this turn.
Okay. So 3-cost 3/3 that heals you for 1. Oh man. I don't know how good healing for 1 is. It seems decent. Doesn't attack, doesn't defend the turn that it comes into play, and then you evolve, and it draws, it cantrips, replaces itself with a Ren or a Mio, and it costs 2 less to play. So 2 bodies and 1 card. All you're doing is healing 1. I don't know how good healing is in this game. I'm gonna go Stinker. This doesn't seem as splashy to me.
Okay, so unfortunately, so this is a good card in the cool deck. So the thing about, I probably should have given more insight on what Ren, Shibuya, Mio Honda do, but Mio Honda is a 2-cost card that has Storm. So you're able to essentially play her the same turn you play the Suzuki Shimura.
Okay.
And the Ren Shibuya, there's multiple Ren Shibuyas in the game that are able to also swing the same turn that they're played, or you can do X amount of damage to somebody. I think it's like 5. But she's very good for the cool deck. She's a cute card, but she goes in the cool deck to go ahead and get other cards. So getting like 2 bodies in 1 is what you really need to look at it like.
Yeah, and it's a tutor. I guess I failed to realize that you search your deck for a card. That's the tutor effects are strong. That's pretty cool.
Alright, getting into the next round, we have Garyu Supreme Dragonkin. So he's a 5-cost 3/4. When he comes into play, you draw a card, and while this card is on your field, each other Dragoncraft follower on your field has Ward, and you can evolve him for 1. And when you evolve him, you may summon a Dragoncraft follower that costs 5 or less from your hand, and he still has that same ability that all your Dragoncraft followers have Ward.
Okay. 5 cost 3, 4. Seems a little low stat line, but he replaces himself, which is cool. Each other dragon, so he doesn't give himself Ward?
Yes, he does not give himself Ward.
Okay, but if you've got a board, you're pretty protected. On evolve, you may summon a follower that costs 5 or less from your hand. So for 1, you're getting a 5. That seems pretty good. One scores on field. He looks really cool. Let's see. I mean, I'm thinking again, like you pay 5 for a 3/4, which doesn't seem great, but he replaces himself, and if you've got anything else on board, at least he's helping set up some defense. But if they kill him, everything else loses the defense. But the evolve seems real good. Oh man. Let's go. It's the evolve that's holding me up.
Yeah, it's
Evolving for 1 to play a 5 seems really, really good. Because Dragoon Forte was a 4, right?
yeah, she was 4, but you had to spend 2
You
to
can-
evolve her.
Right, but you can still pay 1 to evolve this guy and play a Forte. Oh man, that seems good. I'm gonna go staple just for that.
Okay. Alright, so unfortunately, this card is not that good, just because 5, when you evolve into a 5 cost follower, it doesn't feel too good, just because there are a lot of cards that can really get through to that. And the card does seem good on paper just by itself, but with how I think Dragon wants to function, any of the 5 cost cards that you do want to play, they want to evolve too, most of the time. So once you probably don't know the rule, excuse me, but when you evolve, you cannot evolve again the same turn.
Okay.
So when you play a body out, you want that body to really be doing something, and then cards that really do something like that, they also have an evolve, so they can do more things. So the deck itself is pretty nice to play, but as a staple, it's not too good.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so getting on into the next round. So we have Whispers of a Dream. So it's a 2-cost quick spell, so you can do this at the end of your opponent's turn or in response to an opponent's attack. You can select the enemy follower that costs 3 or less on the field and destroy it and bury the top card of your deck.
Okay. So, paying 2 to kill a 3 in any game that I've ever played is good return on value. Bury the top card of your deck. Is that like mill yourself 1?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming this might go in an archetype that wants to mill itself. So you're killing a thing and also milling yourself for 1. There's a really good Grand Archive deck right now that wants to do exactly this kind of thing as many times 0 as possible. So based on that, I'm just gonna go. Oh man, is 2 too much for this ability? No, let's go staple.
You are indeed correct. This is a staple card. So in Abysscraft decks, milling yourself isn't that bad because your whole game plan is to get at least 10 cards in your cemetery as quickly as possible for most of the archetypes for Abysscraft. So milling the top card isn't that bad, but also doing that on your opponent's turn while getting rid of a card that they're potentially swinging at you with is just too good.
There you go.
All right, so we're getting close to the end here. Oh, actually, this is the last one we have. So we have Angel of Chaos. So she's a 7-cost 5/5 with Ward. So she has an activate ability to banish 3 fallen angel cards in your cemetery. You select an enemy follower in the field and steal it and refresh it. This ability can only be activated once per turn.
Okay. Well, can we at least start by talking about how this looks like Change of Heart from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, yeah. This the angel archetype in this game is very interesting.
Okay. So 7 cost 5/5. So I'm not loving the stat line, but it's got blocker. Banish 3, and it's at costing 7. Surely you've got 3 fallen angels in your cemetery at this point. Then that seems kind of cool. 7 cost 5/5. Deal a card. Man. it is itself a blocker. 7 just seems like a lot for this kind of effect, especially if you can't attack with the thing that you stole necessarily. I'm gonna go stinker on this one.
And you are indeed correct. Angel of Chaos is a big stinker. So anyone who's watching the video right now is probably just like, what the hell, Sparta? So when this card came out in set 3, there weren't really that many Fallen Angels. There were probably maybe 2 to choose from. So imagine having a perfect world where all the Fallen Angels that you have all but 2 of in your cemetery to steal 1 card from your opponent's field, and you're also paying 7 for this. So it's not very impactful for playing this card, and taking the fact her stat line's a 5/5, so she's pretty easy to be removed, of course. So imagine you're on 7, you play this, and then you may or may not have the Fallen Angels, but if you do, you get to take 1 card. But how Shadowverse really works is you want to really remove all the cards on your opponent's board. So around 7 play points, people are playing at least maybe 2 or 3 bodies if they can. So only taking 1 doesn't kind of seem worth, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there are board wipes that cost less than that.
And that is the end of it. Danny, thank you so much.
Man, this was fun. Would love to come back and do another one sometime.
Well, it's up to the viewers if we do a little part 2 here. I did get this from a suggestion from someone, so we can probably definitely do a part 2, maybe with more of our team members in here, and we can probably have a grand old party.
Sounds good to me, man. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks for being here, and everyone, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. TRINN. Just to get you away. What I got to do, what I got to do. Just to get you away. What I got to do, what I got to do. Just to get you away. You pull me too close now.